Hello YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, I am just gonna go over my favorite romances of 2020 so far. I am aware that 2020 is not over yet. It's only September. But you know what? It's Smutty September. It's time to talk about smutty delights. So I figured, you know what? I'm just gonna go over my favorite ones I've read this year so far. There might still be some gems to find in the next October, November, just 3 months of the year. I had to do math for a second. So there might still be more gems to be found in the rest of the year, but so far up until this point, these are my faves. Let's go. First off, let's just go with my newfound Lindsay Sands obsession, which is An English Bride in Scotland by Lindsay Sands. This is the start of her Highland Bride series. And you know what? I'm picking the first book of this series in particular because it's the first book where this plot is introduced, because really every single book of this series has the same plot almost. It's the same. So I had to go with the first book because at least it's fresh here. This is Annabelle and Ross Mackay, and Annabelle was set to go be a nun, and instead her parents are like, oh, you gotta go marry this guy, and she's like, what? Okay, and then she marries him, and it turns out okay in the end because they like each other. And then of course there's like a murder mystery plot, because literally every book of this series has the girl like someone's trying to murder the heroine. All the books. Every single one, just wait for it. Someone's gonna try to murder this girl. So they gotta solve a murder mystery, they gotta fall in love, they gotta have like steamy times. So it's got like a lot of things I really enjoy. And also it's just funny. It's actually quite funny. The comedic timing is excellent. I like the characters. I like the like satisfying conclusion here. So overall, very fun. I did enjoy this. It actually has set off my whole Lindsay Sands adventure where I've read all of the books of the series so far now. I also loved The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I'm pretty sure the publisher sent me this book because I requested it. I can't remember right now. It came out like in February. But I'm pretty sure the publisher sent it to me because I had it on my radar, and it's so good. I love it so much. So this is Carolina and Max, and Carolina is a wedding planner who happened to have been jilted at the altar. So it's kind of an odd situation for her. And she's trying to get this job as the wedding coordinator for this like 5-star hotel, and she's like, oh my gosh, I need this. And so in comes these marketing people, and 2 people are competing for the director job, and they're gonna split off into teams to see who does better. Wouldn't you know, the marketing team that they pull in is her ex-fiance and his brother. Now, the brother was the best man, hence the worst best man, because everyone blames the brother for talking the groom out of getting married, when really, Max did no such thing. The groom is just a dick. But anyway, so it's Carolina and Max, close contact, always having to work together, hate to love situation, and it's beautiful. It's like so well paced and well plotted, and like funny without trying too hard. Also, great Afro-Caribbean representation. I love it. And ooh, it's so good. It's so good. It's also very steamy, if that's like something you're interested in. So I do recommend. It's so good. It blew me away. I was completely, well, not surprised by it because I thought it was gonna be good, but like it exceeded expectations. Also, I absolutely loved Well Met by Jen DeLuca. I don't know why I waited so long to read this. I like, for some reason I thought it wasn't going to be very steamy. I thought it was going to end up being really cutesy, and it kind of put me off to it, but I think a subscriber sent this to me from my Amazon wishlist, if I'm not mistaken. And so I was like, okay, well now I have the book, let's try this out. And oh my gosh, pleasantly surprised. It's still got steam. It's not like overly steamy. I wouldn't say it's like a too smutty of a book, but it's a nice moderately smutty book, which is like chef's kiss. This is Emily and Simon. It is a rom-com that takes place at a Renaissance fair. Simon's family has been running this Renaissance fair forever, so he's kind of very type A about this Renaissance festival. Emily comes into town. She's helping her sister who was in a bad car accident. She's just like there. She's kind of pointless in her life so far. She doesn't really know what direction to go. She's a little lost, but she's like has this direction now where she's gonna help her sister. Part of it ends up being she has to like sign up for the Renaissance fair because her niece wants to sign up for this Renaissance fair, and she's a minor, so you can't do that unless you have an adult. I'm sorry, I'm getting far too into like the intricacies of this. Anyway, Emily ends up in the Renaissance Fair, Simon's Renaissance Fair. This is another enemies to lovers. She is kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say rebellious, but she's just kind of, honestly, like, I vibe with Emily a lot. She's very kind of, I don't know how to explain her personality. She's just like, listen, I know what the rules are and I'll do them. Just get off my fucking nuts. Which is like a girl after my own heart, frankly. So, and Simon was just like, no, you have to do it now. He's just very type A, and she's just like, you need to get off my nuts. So it's this kind of a personality clash. And then they kind of grow to understand each other, and then the sparks fly, and it's just like a good steamy romance, and it's also a rom-com, and it's a Renaissance fair. Like, oh, nerd love. I love it. So yes, completely pleasantly surprised by this. Definitely not, it's cute, but I wouldn't say it's cutesy, so I recommend. It's very good. Also on this list is Undercover Bromance by Alyssa K. Adams. I actually requested this from the publisher because I was really interested in it because I liked its predecessor, the Bromance Book Club, but like, it needed some tweaks. It wasn't perfect, so I was like, I think the story's gonna get better. And hey, I was right. It totally got better. Like, oh my gosh, Undercover Bromance, it's like so much better than book one. Not that book one is bad, this one just exceeds expectations. Oh, I laughed out loud at points. It was that funny. And like, it's rare that I get a rom-com because I read so many that makes me laugh out loud. So if a book can do that, it's a winner. The basic premise of this whole series going on is that there's this group of dudes and they're trying to understand the women in their lives and be better men and like have successful relationships, and the way they do that is by reading romance novels, because honestly it's just a roadmap of things that women like. It's very ingenious. So they have the Bromance Book Club and they all kind of like hang out with each other and help each other. There's like very little toxic masculinity here in this series, which is like, oh, gorgeous, I love it. And in this book in particular, we have Mac and Liz. Mac is kind of a bit of a playboy, and Liv is a chef, and circumstances happen. There's like, she has an evil boss who's like just a creep. And so it goes into that deeper thing, trying to take down this boss, and they team up. And there are times when I got so angry at these characters that I wanted to throw the book, and then there's sometimes that something happened and I just laughed hysterically, so like it got me in all of my feels. And honestly, lovely. I just had so much fun with this book. Like the big ending, there's just like this moment where I'm just like, yes! I was just so rooting for all these characters so hard. So yes, exceeds expectations totally. I had so much fun with this. Also on this list is The Boyfriend Project by Farah Roshan. I was pleasantly surprised by this. Not that I thought it was going to be bad, it's just I hadn't really heard of it before. I don't think I'd read anything by this author before, even though this author has many other books. And so I was like, all right, let's go in, let's try this out. It's a workplace romance, let's see. And you know what? It was really fun. It's so fun. So it's Samaya and Daniel, and they're working in the tech industry, and while their romance is fun and it's kind of friends to lovers situation with also like a dash of espionage going on, it's got all of that, and that's all great, and there's steam and everything. But I think the thing that really sets this apart is just the characters and how they see the world, because, you know, these are both characters of color working in the, you know, tech industry, which, let's be real, is overwhelmingly white. So they have a very unique perspective on everything going on around them and how different things come into play that you wouldn't think about normally. So I really liked like the cultural aspect of the story, and then there's actually a really cute friends to lovers romance on top, and then another layer of espionage and like the federal government getting involved, and it's like, what is happening? So this book has layers, is what I'm saying. It's got a lot of really cool things going on. I definitely recommend workplace romance, friends to lovers, and it's actually kind of really sweet and cute and also steamy. So it's got a lot of things I really like. I also have to include on my list The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. Oh, I'm so happy I read this. It was kind of a sneak attack book. I don't think I had it on a TBR. I just was like, I'm reading this, let's go. What sets this story apart from other historical romances is that this is an FF historical. So, you know, both love interests are women. And I was interested to see how this was going to play, because I've read other FF romances where I feel like they're not subverting the tropes enough. There's certain tropes that work in an MF relationship that I see put into queer stories more often than not that don't necessarily work for those relationships, if you get what I mean. There's just a different dynamic, and I feel like this one is an FF romance where both of the characters feel like females who are in love with each other and love. I love it so much. It nods at those tropes that we're familiar with from historical romance, but it doesn't like twist them into fit the narrative. It lets its narrative be its own thing while like having a nod to those tropes, which is like a subtle thing, but makes all the difference. This one in particular is about Catherine and Lucy. Lucy is a young woman who wants to be an astronomer, but mind you, in this era, ladies weren't allowed to do that. And then comes Catherine. She is a widow, got a lot of money. She's a lady. And her husband was an astronomer, and now she's trying to like translate this very famous French celestial mechanics book. And so Lucy's like, hey lady, I want to do it. And she's like, okay. And then like romance. And I'm so into it. I love it so much. Oh, this book is kind of like, I didn't know what to expect from it, and then it completely exceeded expectations. I think that's what the whole vibe of this is. Books that exceeded my expectation after I read them. And this one totally did. Really good. I didn't know I was gonna pick this book until I started doing this video, and that is My Fake Rake by Eva Lee. So this series is kind of fun because all of them are loosely kind of based around like 80s rom-coms. And I love it. You see like the like nods to things in there, and I'm like so into it. But this one in particular is about Grace and Sebastian. And it's just like nerd love extravaganza. It's like the two most Hufflepuffy Hufflepuffs that ever Hufflepuffed falling in love with each other. And I love it. It's just nerd love. Soft boy nerd love. I love it so much. So Grace and Sebastian have been friends for a long time, and Grace is like, I gotta get married to someone. And then she's like, ooh, look at that science bro over there. Like, I'm really into science and he likes science. I gotta talk to him. And then she doesn't really know how to be desirable, because remember, nerd. And so she's like, Sebastian, you gotta like pretend to be interested in me because other people will see me as desirable. And then like, and Sebastian's like, I'm a nerd too. I don't know how to do that. And so they enlist his friend and like give him like rake lessons, and he becomes like a dashing dude who's gonna like be like attracted to her for fake, but actually it's real. And then they fall in love for real in the end because they both actually really like each other, and they're just dumb. Like, for so much of this book, I just wanted to throw them both in a closet and yell, start mating with each other! But like, they didn't do it until the end. A lot of the time in this book, you're just gonna be like, oh, I just want to push their faces together and make them kiss. Oh, it's like the best kind of drama in my life. So yes, this book keeps sneaking up on me because I keep thinking about their Hufflepuff love, and it makes me happy in my soul. So yes, this one snuck up on me, but I do recommend. It's quite fun. This is a newer addition to this list, which is Here to Stay by Adriana Herrera. Here's the thing, like, is this book incredible? Is it gonna change the way you look at romance? No. However, this book is like the epitome of comfort read. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just having a long weekend where you're just gonna relax and you're gonna curl up on the couch with like a beverage of your choice and just chill and read a book, like, oh, this book will give you all the warm fuzzies. It's like the perfect comfort read. This is a kind of enemies to lovers situation. It's a vague enemies to lovers. It's more just like, I'm worried about you, to I like you situation. So Julia moves to Texas for a boyfriend dumps her, moves back to New York. She's like, okay, fine, I'm in Texas. In comes Rocco. Rocco's like hired by the company she works for to like make big cuts and like make the company more profitable. So her job's on the line. She's like, homie. And then they end up being friends, and he's just like actually really a nice guy. And then like love and romance, and it's really cool to see them like actually fight for their relationship so much. They're just like, I fucking like you. Get over here and like me back. And they're like, okay. So I really like how much they fight for each other in this. And it's really short and fun and just like a comfort read. It's not so serious that you're ever just gonna be sobbing, but it has enough serious moments where you're just gonna be like, oh, I'm so invested in this. So it's very comforting. Another awesome layer about this book is that it has amazing Latinx representation in it. Julia is from a big Latin family, and woo boy, they are some characters, and I really like her family so much. And overall, you know what? It's just like adorable. Sometimes you just want a comfort book where you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna relax. And this book is gonna relax me. Love it. So just for like good vibes, it has to make the list. All right, so that's my list. These are the books that I personally read in 2020, not necessarily came out in 2020, that I have adored this year. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Have you read any of these too, and did you love them? Did you not like them? Or what's one of your favorite romances you have read so far this year? Comments down below, let me know. Also, if I talked you into wanting to read any of these books, I did put links in the description down below so you can find them easily. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!